Hey, hey, first attempt. Awesome. Let's see, I gotta fix this. It's gotta be just right. Okay. So the first hour, I'm gonna be chatting. Yeah, and then I'll nap during the second hour. Just if you're just new and tuning in for the first time, you don't know what's going on. I have a 2-hour live stream every Wednesday, but I also have 2-hour live stream every Friday and every Monday. First hour from now on is going to be just a chat. Alan Cole is here. Tommy Taylor, Matthias Melander. Matthias is from Denmark. Jesse is here. TJ's New Life. TJ's from Australia. If you're new, tell us where you are or what state you're from, what country or what state. And then maybe there's a napper near you that you didn't even know about. Yeah, that's got tons of free rocks that you can nap. Guilt-free. Lithic Man is here. Hello, it's going good. Styley Designs is here. Hello, hello. Buckskin NYB is here. Good afternoon, Patrick. I received the package yesterday. I'm going to put some KRF in the bow and send it back. Awesome. I think you mean box. Send it back. Yeah. Alan Cole says, Jesse, good to see you. Hope you and the family are doing well. Yes, yes. Greetings from Northeast Washington. Lithic Man is from Northeast Washington. Danny Moore is here. I made it. I've been working a lot in the last month. Well, that's kind of good. Yeah. Scott Lauer's here. He's from the UK. We got several internationals in the house today. Well, that's pretty common on Wednesdays. All right, that's on. I think I got everything plugged in and running. So the first hour is going to be chat. It's called a Bantz stream for the first hour. And then I'll nap starting in the second hour for about 45 minutes. What do I have lined up for my napping? Let's see. I got something. I just got a box from Jim Maine too. So I'll be napping Dacite. Okay. Unless somebody really, or unless more than one person really doesn't want to see Dacite, I'll be napping this chunk. But the second hour, the beginning of the second hour, for 45 minutes and see what I can do with it. I will not nap anything other than Dacite obsidian or glass. I mean, I won't nap glass or obsidian that's not Dacite obsidian. This is easy to clean up, and it's not as sharp as the obsidian that's more glass-like. Hey, let's see. Matthias says, I finally got a copper bopper set on order. Excited to see how it is. Yes, yes. Patrick, what time is it in Vermont? It's 3:54 where I am here. Well, at the time you asked, it's 1:53 p.m. Or what is that in military time? 1354? Yeah. The live stream on Wednesday starts at 2 p.m. Eastern time in the U.S. Dacite outstanding, says Alan Cole. The first obsidian live stream. Yeah. But I won't nap the really glass-like stuff. This is the closest you'll get to obsidian. Because it's something that's difficult for me to clean up fully. And if there's any little bits anywhere, my socks attract bits of glass and flakes like magnets. Which reminds me, I've got to do a magnet test on some material that looks like it shouldn't be magnetized. I'll do that on a video. I've got lots of stuff to do on video that I need to catch up on. I'm trying to catch up on back orders get those out because people have been waiting, and then I'll do demonstration videos on various materials. I still have to nap Scott Lauer's rocks that he sent me, the bullhead flint from the UK, that kind of stuff. And I've got cherry red glass from Dwayne. I believe he sent me that. And then I've got to finish up some series that I started. I've only got one of part one on a couple of videos. I need to finish those out. So those will be coming up later, but I'm trying to catch up with back orders. However long it takes me to catch up with back orders is the amount of time you will not be seeing very many videos. Yeah. Ken says, glad you went live. I was bored and waiting until the rain stopped so I can nap. Sweet. What is the measurement of a bird point? Asks Marty or Buckskin NYB. I've made quite a few points that are smaller than 2 inches. Would they be considered bird points? Yeah. But bird points, the way I measure them is not by length. It's by the width of the stem at the most narrow part of the stem. Okay, you measure, if it's just a triangle, I'll get to that later. But if it's got notches in or a stem, like a contracting stem or whatever, measure across the neck of the point. Okay, a bird point is going to have a neck that's, right around a 1/4 inch across. Now, what about triangles with side notches, shallow side notches, and all that? Those are the exceptions, but you can tell those by the thinness. Atlatl dart points of the same size as true arrow points will be much thicker than a true arrow point in most cases. In some cases, not even archaeologists can tell the difference between an atlatl dart point and an arrow point, especially during the transition phase, the late archaic transition phase into more of the use of bow and arrow. There are some places in the United States where you cannot tell the difference between the atlatl dart point and the arrow point. So there's no clear classification of what is a bird point unless you can prove it's an arrow point. And then all arrow points in the United States have that nickname of being called a bird point, regardless of their size. Okay? Now, you can make up your own criteria because archaeologists do that all the time. They come up with a criteria in their specific little study or paper, and then they refer to that size throughout the whole study. But different archaeologists do that differently. So one study might say that the bird point is less than 2 inches, and the other study might say a bird point is less than 1 inch. And if some say a bird point is an arrow point, it's just a nickname for an arrow point. And some say, no, it's got to be really tiny. It's got to be tiny. Whatever tiny means, that's a bird point. So take your pick. Yeah, the way I define it is I look at the neck, because atlatl dart points, even if they have notches and they're tiny, they're going to have a thick neck and a thick cross section. Those are atlatl dart points. Something that you would have trouble fitting onto a foreshaft for an arrow is an atlatl dart point. Something that's easily fit into an arrow foreshaft, the dimensions of an arrow foreshaft, which are usually about a 1/4 inch at the tip because they're tapered. The arrow foreshaft starts at about, I don't know, between 3/8 and 5/16, and then tapers down to about a 1/4 inch on average. Some are larger, some are even smaller than that. So at the 1/4 inch tapered point on the foreshaft, what arrow point can you stick in there? Something that's got a neck that's like a 1/4 inch wide and something that's really thin, so it'll fit in to a notch at the end of a 1/4 inch foreshaft. That's a long answer, I know, but it's variable. It varies. That's why the question comes up. But I like questions. If you have questions, please ask them during the first hour so that I can think about these. So the answer to you is, uh, if it's smaller than 2 inches, is that considered a bird point? Yes and no, depending on how thick it is, how wide the neck is, how easy can it be hafted to a foreshaft, arrow foreshaft. Let's see. What did I miss someone's entrance here? Ken says, I'm starting to keep a notebook to write down napping questions for Pat when I think of them. There you go. Perfect. Clint Stoner is here. Hey, folks. Styly Designs. Trifacial point would be cool. Yeah, I don't like making the trifacial points though. I have a just type in Jack Crafty 3-sided point. I think that's what I call it in my video. I've made one on video, and that's probably the only one I'm ever going to make. Yeah. They're tedious, boring, not very useful for me. I don't make reproductions or anything using the trifacial point. I could make, a trifacial point out of this blocky stuff, but it's just tedious. It's a no-brainer, basically. You just little flakes, I'd rather thin it down. That way I can take off some flakes that I can make little arrowheads out of. If I make a trifacial point out of this, I'm assuming you want the whole length, so it's going to have to be kind of thick. So I would just knock off little crud flakes until I get that trifacial point. So I end up with one point and a bunch of crud flakes. Whereas if I were to thin this down into a biface, I could get the biface plus a lot of arrowhead flakes. Yeah. That I can make into arrowheads. 2 arrow points. Alan Cole says, smash a like button. Yes, do it. Not many have done it. Let's see. Tommy Taylor or TJ Scott is it night or close to it on y'all side of the globe? It's late for them in Australia, I believe. Brandon, howdy, Deuterinos. Scott Lauer says it's early evening, 1900 p.m. military time. Yeah. 1900 is it's 7 o'clock their time. Evening. Let me think here. Yeah, I can't remember the time difference between us and TJ. His is even later, or I think. Let's see. These people are speaking Cree Indian. I can't read it. I can read it, but I'll look like a fool. But that's cool. Keep speaking Cree Indian so we can see what it looks like. Yeah. We need to get educated. Hey, Styly Designs, a trifacial point would be cool. No. Okay, where am I now on the chat? I'm falling behind and I'm trying to keep up. TJ's New Life says that lattice bird points were thicker than bow points. At lattice bird points were used on a tri-headed dart. I see. AJ Williams, hey, yo, Pat and fellow groupies. I think I asked before, but here it goes again. Okay, let me see. Where is the next entry? AJ, I don't see your question. Try again. Jim Main is here. I got your box. Yes. This is the box from Jim Main. I know you're probably going to ask. Yeah. Hopefully that wasn't visible. The address. I can't reveal addresses because it won't be protecting the innocent. Let's see here. Ken says, right now I'm focusing on my platforms. I realize I haven't been thinking about my center line at all, and it's probably why I'm not learning how to thin yet. No, you can thin with various positions on the center line. Yeah, some material actually likes you to hit above center line, and some material you have to hit below center line. But most material, just do it, just hit at center line. Hey, 4.99 super chat. Who gave it to me? Who is super chatting already? Buckskin, NYB, Marty, thank you, thank you. Thanks for the info, Patrick. Mighty needs some more bird food for the squirrels. I might need some more bird food. Oh yeah. I gotta buy the bird food that's got the little sunflower seeds. That's the skunk's favorite. There's 3 of them. They're all siblings, I can tell. They've been around for a while, uh, for at least a month. They started real tiny. And someone asked me, have they been named yet? No, because they can't tell them apart at all. They're completely identical. Yeah. Squirrel 1, squirrel 2, and squirrel 3, all living in the top of my cherry tree. Thing 1, thing 2, thing 3, living at the top of my cherry tree. I got a cherry tree out front, and I found out it's black cherry. Yeah. I still haven't used the wood for cooking yet. I got to set up something outside. I'm hesitating to buy a barbecue grill because I'm picky about it. They don't have any good ones on Amazon. Not the ones that I need a custom made one, I suppose. Or I'll bring one back up from Texas. Yeah, Texas, they know how to make these wood burning barbecue grills. Here it's like, or on Amazon. Let's see. So, Ken, start all your thinning attempts from center line, not below or above. Center line, and see how it goes. And then if it's not working right, try below and above the center line on that particular material. See, the way I do it, which maybe not how everybody does it, is I don't stay the same throughout the whole knapping experience for that particular point or particular nodule. I'll adjust as time goes on. I don't know if I make that clear during videos, but I'll hit it all over the place in different stupid ways to begin with. And the brain starts to pick up on what is successful. What's the result? My brain is constantly focused on the result. So if something seems to be giving a good result, I don't even think about if I'm hitting above or below center line. I don't think about it too much. It starts working in a certain way. I just keep doing it that way. And now it'll shift because it starts working one way for thinning on a thick piece, and then it stops working like it was just working. It just doesn't do it. So we got to switch over to something else. So different stages usually requires different subtle changes in how you're hitting or how you're pressure flaking, depending on the size and the weight and the shape of the piece. It doesn't stay the same size, shape, or weight as you're knapping. That influences how you're knapping it. That's why guys that when they start with a big chunk, they say to themselves, well, at least I'll get a little piece out of it. How can I not? Well, they end up not getting a big piece and they nap it down, and they're not getting a medium-sized piece and they nap it down, and they don't even get a small piece because they don't realize that the procedure changes. There's different mindsets for each stage, believe it or not. And people say, well, it's so insignificant that the mindsets, that doesn't make any sense because it's insignificant and it's just tiny little variations. It's just not even worth bothering thinking about it. The point is, with Flintknapping, small, subtle, almost imperceptible differences make all the difference. So that viewpoint where these stages are insignificant is wrong. Yes, it's ignorant. It's ignorant. But you can divide the stages the way you want. I'm not going to mess with your stages. Don't mess with my stages. Yeah. All right. And don't focus on platforms. Focus on this, what I call the striking areas, and the amount of abrading is the first consideration. How much abrading do you need, if any? Sometimes you don't need any. Sometimes you need some, and as time progresses, maybe you need more, maybe you need less. It's variable, but it's subtle. It's very little, almost imperceptible changes in the procedure. Let's see. Lithic Man asks me, have you ever heard of a Hozomine chert from the Northern Cascades area? I have an article I can send to you through email. Sure. I have not heard of it. Now, I won't remember it. Like next week, hey, Pat, do you remember the Hozomine chert? I'm going to go, yeah. No. Jesse says, I'm getting ready for the Arizona Knap-in Saturday. Yeah, if anyone needs information on Knap-ins, I've got an updated list. I just haven't typed it up and put it up online on my channel. Yeah, what else is coming up? July 10th through 15th is the Thunder Ridge Primitive Skills Gathering in Knap-in in Virginia. That's coming up. If you need to know Knap-in information, this is how I write my notes. Okay, Hopper Creek Campground. There's one coming up in Virginia, July 10th through the 15th. That's like starting very soon, tomorrow. Yeah, Flintknappers are going to get there on Thursday. That's my kind of Knap-in, because Knap-ins usually occur, or they have that on the schedule that is Saturday and Sunday. But they don't tell you what goes on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So by the time you get there Saturday, you go, hey, is there any rocks for sale, dudes? Dudes, any rocks for sale? Yeah, that's right over there. And you go look and you go, wait, these are all kind of small and stuff. Oh, yeah, we bought them all on Thursday and Friday, the big ones. Sorry. Dang it. Why didn't anybody tell me? I'm telling you right now. If there is an early bird capacity for the Knap-in, get there early. If you want to buy stone, if you want to see specific nappers that only show up on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, they leave. As soon as everyone is supposed to be getting there on Saturday, some of the nappers you may want to see leave. They don't stay there on the weekend. Why do they do that? I don't know. I haven't figured that one out yet, because I like to stay there during the Saturday and Sunday the most. Of course, I like, Thursday and Friday nights. They're cool. But I like the regular Knap-in hours the best. All right, let's see. Alina Sundragon is here. Hi, guys. I just popped up for a few minutes. I'm 10 minutes behind on the chat. I'm sorry. So Alina popped in about 10 minutes ago. TJ's, it's Thursday morning at 4 a.m. where TJ is in Australia. Okay. Thursday morning. So he's already Thursday. That's trippy, right? Because we're Wednesday and he's Thursday. Does that mean he's in the future and we're in the past communicating with each other? Let's see. Any Knap-ins in Washington State coming up? Let me see. Washington State. No, there's no Knap-ins that I know of in Washington State. The only Knap-in close by is in Oregon, which is Glass Butte's Knap-in. Let me check my other notes here. I've got some new Knap-ins in my other notes that I haven't added to the list yet. Let's see if there's something in Washington State. There's one in Lethbridge, Alberta, Canada, if you want to know that information. The one in Arizona is called the Arizona Summer Knap-in. I'll show that in a minute. Washington. Hey, yeah, there is a Washington one. Fort Nappadonia Knap-in. It's on private property, but it is in Washington State. Yes, it is. Here it is. Okay. Fort Nappadonia. It's on private property, right? They just call it Fort Nappadonia. It's not a park. 4445 Moran Road, Oak Harbor, Washington. These are the phone numbers. I recommend calling for this one. August 18th through the 24th, 2025. Okay? I got two phone numbers. Text the phone numbers. Now, the address on this one, as far as I know, is an estimate. This might not be the exact address. I just looked for it on Google Maps. Okay? According to the directions that they have on the Puget Sound Nappers website. And I like to get the zip code in the town as well as a physical address so you can just type it in. So this may not be the correct physical address, but it'll get you right there in that within the area where you can actually see where the guys are setting up for the nap-in. Okay? But that's just I think that's an estimated address. I think 4560 is an actual address. It's right across the street from the nap-in, I think. Something like that. I remember it took me forever to figure out how to post the address for this one. Oh, there's another one in Washington. Dang it. Here's another one. This one is, okay, so this one in Washington is August 18th through 24. That's the Fort Nappadonia. The other one in Washington is Sammamish Knap-in, 23811 Northeast 14th Street, Sammamish, Washington. It's also from Puget Sound Nappers. February, that's already passed, but it's also August 28th through September 1st. So you can go to two nap-ins. Yeah, they're back-to-back weekends. Okay, and there's no number on this one, but it's if you look on Puget Sound Nappers website, it's there somewhere. But this is the actual physical address, so you shouldn't have any trouble getting there. But I think Jim and Beverly Keffer have a Facebook page or something like that. There's also one that I updated that's already passed, but it was in Glendale, Oregon. It just passed this past weekend. Yeah. So I've been slacking. I haven't posted these in an update. So people probably missed the one last weekend in Oregon because of my slowness. I haven't been posting these. Yeah, Glendale, the Cow Creek nap-in. Anyways, I need see that the problem is I don't like to update the list until I have my whole list updated. I don't like updating the online list until I have my hard copy list updated completely. I got to check everything. I haven't checked everything yet. All right, let's see. What did I miss? So there was two Washington State nap-ins. Have you heard of the napping Muppets? Says Ken. Chert and Jasperny. A bit of a reach. You have me going on that one. Let's see. Marty says, oh, okay, yeah, I know a few folks from Belcourt, some nice country up that way. Fertile Joe. When the rocks are out, they will sell them. I missed some chat. Harley Butler. Hello, Patrick. Tuning in from a different account. My phone's cellular service is total crap right now. Couldn't miss the stream, though. Awesome. That's the way to do it. That's the way to do it. Let's see here. Oh, I got a book. Where did I do with it? I got a book from Bushy. He sent me a book. It's outdated, but it's still interesting. Paleo points. Is Bushy in the house? Yes, he is. Ferdo Joe is Bushy, or Bush, or Harold, whichever. He sent me a book. This is from 1989 or something like that. 2 years after I got married, right? Is this from 1989? No, that's the year I did get married, in 89. Dang it. I started college in 87. Yeah. This is from 1989. Okay. It's outdated, seriously outdated, but it's still interesting because the format is good. They give you sketches. Sandia points is no longer considered a valid point type, but it gives this interesting little map. You can't see it, but there's dots on the map for the sites. Can you see? Yeah, you can see it like that. See the dots on the map? I wish they would all do that. G. Bradford, he puts dots on the map instead of like a splotch, which I like better. But if you look at the Clovis distribution, it's highly outdated. Right? This is Clovis. You see the dots on that? It's concentrated here in the west. This is wrong. Most of the Clovis sites are up here in the east, and right in the middle of the eastern part of the country. That's where most of the Clovis sites are, not over here. Okay? Okay. As an example, there's a lot of other examples of being outdated. But these are also not full size, I don't think. They might be. They look pretty close to being full size, but the Folsoms are too big. Yeah, Folsoms are not that big. On average. There are some that are that big, don't get me wrong, but on average, they're more like this size here. And these sketches are idealized sketches. Okay. I don't think those are sketches of actual artifacts. They're just generalized and idealized. But yeah, it's got a lot of, this is specifically a paleo book, right? Paleo points, they know. Okay. You know, I know. I know you know. Yeah. Now you know that I know you know. Let me see. Brennan says, anyone watch any of this series of Lucas Nicholson's videos about using sandstones for everything? He uses one sandstone per stage, basically. Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah. You just use what you like using. That's my motto. Oh, let's see. All right, let me try to catch up with the chat here. Ask questions, please, about anything. Yeah. When the rocks are okay. I'm too far back in the chat. Hold on here. Polio Lit is here. Hey, I missed your entrance. I'm behind in the chat. Polio Lit is here. Jakob, good to see you. Harley Butler says, I'll be at the Hairy Mosquito Knap-in here this weekend. It'll be my first, and I'm stoked. Nervous, but excited. Can't wait to see what it's like to buy rock in person. Yeah, that's the best way to buy rock. So you don't have to buy it sight unseen. Yeah. Everyone say hi to Poliolit. He's from Poland. I think that's where, okay, Buckskin Harley says, I think that's where Leonard Peltier is now that he got out of prison. He must be enrolled in Turtle Mountain Chippewa tribe. Okay. Not sure about some of these conversations. I'll be looking for questions. Ken says I can catch a bus from Vancouver to one of those. Gonna try to make those. Awesome. There you go. Catlin, George Catlin's. Scott says I love George Catlin's. Right? Is it George? Anyway, Catlin's paintings. The Mandin's war leader was a giant of a man. Catlin was an amazing pioneer and artist for sure. Loved his North American Indians book as a kid. Yeah. Interesting book. Aaron Wilson. Hello, Patrick. Hope you like the rods. Yes, I do. I got them in my stuff. In case you don't know what he's talking about, he sent me these rods that are milled down to the specs that I like. I think on one side is 5/16 and one side is 3/8. No, I don't know what. Maybe this is a quarter and this is 5/16. But he sent me another one, so I can just flip them around. Yeah. Somebody gave me a super chat for $9.99. Aaron Wilson. Thank you. I can hit the like button on that. I just noticed. Harley says, package update for you, Patrick. I got the light box for those signs I 3D printed for you in the works. So Harley, okay. He used to be Smallzilla in the chat. I'll include the 4 screws and spares and Allen key and other fun goodies. All right, sweet. Thank you. Thanks, Harley. So I thought you were a new person. I'm used to seeing the Smallzilla handle. Brent says, same, just never saw someone do so much scrunchitizing into one's hand and eyes. Who does all that scrunchitizing? Poliolit says, I made a video about Polish spear throwing device. Now I'm preparing points and shafts because in Poland, also shafts were used in prehistoric times. You can check that out. Yeah. Where is Michael? I need someone to post a link to Poliolit's YouTube channel. Ross Wellman, hello. What kind of pen do you use to sign your points? I use 2 different kinds of pens. Do you want to know specifically? Let's see. I just so happen to have my shipping stuff in this room for some reason. It's funny how that works. All right, so I have 2 different kinds of pens depending on the color of the point. If it's dark enough, I always sign it now with the white pen. It's Jelly Roll 0.05. You can find these at Hobby Lobby or Michael's or probably Walmart too. Jelly Roll, okay? Japanese. This will allow you to write with white. Okay. So I'm using this a lot more now for like 90% of all my stuff. But if I need to write on a light colored or white flint or chert or coral or whatever, I use a Micron. And this one is a, come on. 003. Don't do that to me. Focus. It's a 003, but I think you can use a 005. Oh, there it is on the front here. See the 003? This is a very fine point. I think that might be actually the finest that they make. It's Pigma Micron archival ink. It's a true black ink. Now, I used these back in the day as drafting pens. Okay, I've got different sizes. I've got 0.005, 0.008, 0.010, stuff like that. I'm pretty sure I've got the entire set somewhere, but for signing my points, I used the 003. Okay, is that good enough? No? You'll ask again in 10 minutes? I didn't see it. What was that again? Let's see. Oops. I am way behind in the chat. Let's see. Oh, I'm not that far behind. Never mind. Now, there's a trick to signing on stone sometimes. The pen doesn't always work. So you got to put down a clear coat, either gloss or flat clear coat, before you can sign, because sometimes it doesn't work. Like on some heat treats with the white pen, it doesn't write. It's just too slick. Okay, so I got to put down either a flat coat or a clear coat of gloss coat or flat coat, depending on the shininess of the stone. I want the coat to match. Anyway, once that dries, then you can write on it, and then you put another clear coat on top. Okay, now if you can, use different types of clear coat. I use all the same, but sometimes I run into a problem because the second coat that goes over the top of the first coat might smear when it's the same type of coat, like lacquer, like fingernail polish lacquer. It usually goes over the second coat without smearing the writing, but sometimes it smears it. So in that case, I just wipe it all off with acetone and start over with a base coat of acrylic clear coat instead of a lacquer clear coat. And that usually doesn't smear when you apply the second coat. Even when you let it dry for a long period of time, it sometimes will smear the writing. And sometimes I do it the other way around, where I put the lacquer down first and then the acrylic clear coat over that, so it won't smear. That's the particulars that make all the difference. Let's see. Wahoo! Super chat again today. Yes, Aaron Wilson. A-Money. Yeah, I do like the rods. Tommy Taylor says, Poliolet, need to let REP have your channel info so we can follow. Yeah. Michael's not in the house today. And I haven't seen Keith in a while. Keith and the Marbles. Yeah. Everyone should be following everyone else's channels if they have channels. You can click on their name, but I don't know if it'll bring you to the channel while you're in the chat. But you can click on the names and they'll bring you to their channels. Or click on that little round avatar and it'll bring you to the channel, hopefully, of the person commenting. And then you can subscribe. Ed Gould is back in the saddle. How you doing, Ed? Let's see. Where am I? Almost. Yeah. Funny comments. You guys are funny. I'm wondering if someone made him mad about something. I hope not. Who are we talking about? Yeah, where is Keith, says Bren. Hopefully he didn't make so many marbles he had a home alone moment with his shop. People are saying, or Mike says, I think Keith had a tooth thing, probably got a tooth extracted or some dental work. Yeah, I remember that. Ken says, I found the best way to boost your channel is to follow people with similar content or interests. I follow other banjoists and fiddlers, for instance, and it puts me in the algorithm. Interesting. Buckskin NYB. Marty. Did I call you Harley before? I'm losing it. Marty is a Buckskin NYB. I was up in Calgary one time and went to a comedy show up there. They sure had fun talking about people from Newfoundland. He called them Newfies. Made quite a few jokes about how stupid they were. I'd never heard the term Newfies, and I grew up here in New Hampshire. Newfoundland is not too far away. Ken says, go around and follow all the napping channels and you'll show up in the algorithm more. That's interesting to know, yeah. Tommy Taylor, maybe Keith is working on a bowling ball, just a big marble. Could be. Yep. You never know. With Flintknappers, you never know. Let's see here. Newfie is a classic term. Surprised you've never met a Newfie. Yeah, I've never met a Newfie or never heard of him. Jim Cooper says hello. Hello. Let's see, what do we got? 2:30. I still got some time. Let me open the package from Jim Maine, see what he got. See what he sent me. Yes, I'm not going to use a stone flake, okay? So back off. Yeah. I don't care. I missed their stone flakes. I got a whole bucket, but I'm not going to use them to open the package. No. We used to have a saying at work. Whenever the boss had a great idea, why rub two sticks together when you can use a match? Yeah. What, did the boss have a new idea today? Yeah, he's trying to rub two sticks together. We got the matches right over here. So that's my motto. It became my motto because that's the place I worked at the longest. And yeah, I have some fond memories of that place, but sometimes I don't like the memories. Yeah, I had a job. I had a regular job for a long time as a draftsman. I have a degree in computer-aided drafting. Yeah, I was on the computer all day for hours and hours. Yeah. Got paid good money, but man, that's a sacrifice. What is this? It's double boxed, which is good, right? Or is it triple boxed? Is that triple boxed? I think it's triple boxed. Jim, this is the first for me. I've never seen them triple boxed. Yes? No, I don't know. It's weird. No, it's double boxed. Those threw me off these threw me off. Yeah. Anyways, let's see. Why did I have it in my lap that whole time? I don't know. Okay. We got just in case tissues for the issues. I got to do a meme like that, right? Tissues for the issues. Let's see. If I have an issue with the comments, I'll need a tissue. So let me get one. Yeah. I'll get ready. I might have some issues. Yeah. All right. So what do we got? Basalt, maybe. I'll open this on another video, but his question mark. That'll be interesting. This is even more mysterious because there's nothing on it. Kentucky hornstone. Ooh, let me see. Yeah, let me see. Let's use the angry chicken. No need no stinking knife or blades or anything. We'll just use the angry chicken. Yeah. Angry chicken mode. Ooh, that's what that is. That's Kentucky hornstone with the nice white cortex. Very good to know. Very good. Okay, so I might nap that in 15 minutes instead of the dacite. But I already told you I'm going to nap the dacite. So this is well packaged. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to nap that dacite, obsidian dacite. Yeah, release the angry chicken. He knows. Yes, look at that. How did he know this? I don't know. I feel sorry for the new guys. There's too many inside jokes. Anybody face snapping anything right now? Yes, no? Let's see here. When I was in Newfoundland, we called them goofy newfies. Bushy? How come I didn't know about this? Buckskin NYB. It's a Canadian term, Patrick. Newfie is like calling German a kraut, I think. Yeah, I mean, I know. I've heard these. I've heard nicknames for people, yeah, but never the Newfies. Like Yoopers in Upper Michigan. I heard about those as an example. Newfies are salt of the earth, says Ken. Some of the best guys I've ever worked with. The accent sounds like rural Irish. Awesome. Bushy says, Ken, when I was there, everyone spoke French. Poliolit says, next week I'll attempt to send a Flint package. I wonder how long shipping will take. From Eastern Europe, my experience is 3 weeks. Yeah. It takes 3 weeks, but it's not that expensive. Comparatively speaking. Ooh, I got some. I just wanted to unwrap that to see what that was. Because there's no marking. But yeah, this is probably from Jeff Head. Head, just the way it sounds. He's an excellent rock supplier. Jeff Head is an excellent rock supplier of Georgia Chert, Flint River, which is a variety of coastal plains chert, which is a lot of yellow, a lot of amber color, some of the swirl, and he's also got jasper, I believe. Anyways, I'm gonna open the rest of this on a video that shows the close-ups or a first-person view. Yeah. And not on the live stream. Yeah. I'll unleash the angry chicken on another video. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, a ton of goodies. I haven't even scratched the surface on this. Yeah. There's a lot in here. It's a large flat rate box, the type that my post office hates, which is the type that I like a lot. Styly designs. You're face snapping a burrito. There you go. It's making me hungry. I miss burritos because I don't eat tortillas anymore. Just plain water today. I hurt myself with that low acid coffee. Yeah. How can you hurt yourself with low acid coffee, dude? Low acid coffee's got low acid. Yeah, well, not if you drink a lot. Yeah. And I was taking caffeine pills and low acid coffee. I think the low acid coffee is not low caffeine coffee. No. and I made a mistake and indulged too much. It looks like they were rough on the box. No, that's nothing. Does it look like they're rough on the box? If they were, you would be amazed at how rough they can be. You haven't seen what's rough. I should show you what they do. It looks like they flew in a helicopter, low altitude mission, and just dropped it without a parachute onto my porch. That's what some of the boxes look like. Yeah. Boom, 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 up the street, little ways up the hill into and then lands on my porch. That's what it looks like sometimes when I get deliveries. Yeah, and I've heard them low flying helicopters, so I can't be fooled. Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm doing memes now. I mean, hardly anybody ever watches them, but they're fun to do. If you want to see memes of a certain type, let me know. Now's your chance. Hey, Harley says, question, Patrick. Finally. Were there ever studies done on the functional strength of the natives? Do we know just how strong they were? Yeah, but it varies. Yeah. Now, as far as studies, modern studies or firsthand studies? Because there's firsthand accounts of their Olympic abilities. Let's say, quote unquote, Olympic abilities. For example, the Apaches and other Southwest Indians from a very young age could run, and they trained themselves to run for miles and miles and miles and miles. The Apaches, there's very good accounts of Apaches outrunning U.S. cavalry on foot. Apaches on foot outrunning U.S. cavalry on horses. Okay? That's how long they could run. They could run for hours and hours and hours and hours. Now, strength-wise, like how much is their deadlift according to tribe? That study could never have been done anyway. And even if it was, no one would take it seriously because who's going to participate? Whatever you've got, right? You got to just make do with what you've got. As far as samples in the study's not going to be worth anything if you just got piecemeal participation. Who's going to want to do it? Right? So the studies, even if they could do it back then, okay, we got a deadlift set up in the trailer back here. Just go in there and deadlift whatever you can, and we'll write down the data. Okay, anybody want to do it? So we got to do it for free because we're not going to hand out $20 for everybody. Right? That's okay. Just there are accounts of different sizes and heights for different tribes, but that doesn't really equate to strength. So no, there aren't any serious studies. They're just accounts of Olympic abilities, let's say, quote unquote, Olympic style abilities, running, throwing items. They have games like in the Northeast, they used to play lacrosse, and in the South and South America and Central America, they played these ball games with these rubber or latex balls, various games. So they were athletic, but there's no tests on strength, as far as I know. You have to assume it's the same for all humans on average. Okay. Mm-hmm. Let's see. Jim Cooper asks, anyone recognize the name Jesse Fuller? I got a couple of confusing emails from someone looking for rock and saying Patrick sent my email to them. They also said thanks for the videos, which I didn't make. Yeah, I mean, I don't know about. I sent someone to you, Jim, that asked me for flakes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Uh, yeah, I think Jesse is just looking for flakes. That's it, Jim. Yeah. Tommy Taylor says face snapping, ranch dip, and Lay's chips. There you go. Mike Mason, I already asked him for an 8-ball. He said it would be too big. I'm looking forward to the Pacific Northwest Nap-ins now. Anyone here going to attend either one? Asks Ken. SC is in the house. Hello, hello. Capital S, capital C. Marty says, does the shop towel and duct tape method work for the KRF rock I've been sending? Do I need to change my method? No, don't change the method. The shop towel and duct tape work pretty good. Yeah. Now, if you want to change it, it could get expensive. If you have access to the shop towels and duct tape for free or whatever, just stick with that. It works good. Mike says, I wish I could PGK. I'm a Northwesterner, though. Aaron Wilson, trying to order a t-shirt, but no option to add to cart. That's not good. I've got a shop set up through Teespring, or it's now called Spring. The service is not that great, I found out. And it takes forever to get your item. So I'm trying to figure out a way that I will be able to produce my own merch from my house. Yeah, and that way you can get it in less than 5 days instead of having to wait 4 to 6 or 4 to 8 weeks. Plus, you might not have like it's just happening. You might not have the option to stick it in a cart. That's not good. Bushy says, Patrick, I put a few pieces on your post page. Had to use my phone. It can't be done with the Chromebook, and you can't even see them on a Chromebook. Well, that's not good. Can't see them on a Chromebook. But yeah, I saw the pictures, Bushy. Thank you. We have a community now on my channel. If you want to participate, you can post whatever you want, pictures or text or both. Let's see. Poliolit says, I like that meme with DirectX percussion lunatic. Oh, yeah, the bipolar percussion lunatic. Oh, no, here comes the bipolar percussion lunatic. I liked it because all the little rocks had different faces painted on them. When I asked AI to for a group of rocks with faces of different expressions on them, but mostly scared, it was funny because it provided a pretty good set of painted rock faces that were funny to me. Yeah. See, what I do usually is I type in something that I want AI to draw. And sometimes it comes up with something good, sometimes it doesn't. It does allow you the try again button. So I try again. I save images that I think might work, and I try again. Sometimes by coincidence, like that fairy holding the salutrium blade, I didn't tell it to do that. I just said, what did I say? Since you can't ask it to generate realistic human images, I put human fairy or female fairy holding an arrowhead at the lake. I think that was the prompt. Human woman fairy holding an arrowhead at the lake. And I just kept hitting try again. And it came up with a salutrian point that she was holding. I said, I can use that one. But sometimes the image that I'm thinking in my head, the AI is not able to generate it. One, because it says, sorry, I'm not able to produce a realistic human image. Why does it do that? So I had to type in something like caveman for a male image, either caveman or a cartoon image. I had to write down cartoon image or something that's not realistic, and it'll generate. Sometimes, once in a while, when I hit it, try again, it'll generate a human looking image. Yeah. The one image with the woman making an arrowhead, I typed in woman making an arrowhead by the lake. Because I like when the lake is in the background, because I can put text and it shows up really well. Anyway, I had to keep hitting it over and over again, and then it would come up a lot of times. It would say, cannot generate a realistic image per your request. And I just kept hitting it. And then one of the AI images was with a little wand with an arrowhead on it. And she was holding another, like a biface. So magically, AI thought a woman making an arrowhead would use magic to make the arrowhead. I thought that was interesting. Who told AI to come up with something like that? Did AI think of that on its own, or was it aliens? I don't know. Jim Cooper says, okay, as long as it's legit. Thanks, Patrick. Yeah, it's legit that Jesse was just looking for flakes. And I get requests every now and then for people asking for flakes. If I have them, I'll send them. I hardly ever have the flakes at their request. I don't have any right now. Yeah, I've already sent a lot of my flakes out, so I don't have any. I'm keeping the ones I got. Let's see. The hoop and arrow game was another. Yeah, the hoop and arrow game that the Indians would play. They also would gamble with athletic events, not just gambling with throwing dice or whatever, or their version of dice. Yeah, so you're correct. Hoop and arrow game. Yep. Peter says, I made it. I'm here. Peter Cohen or Cone. Mike Mason says, hey, Peter. Okay, let me look for more questions. Mike Tufts is here. Hey. Mary is here. Hello, hello. I like the Ozempic rock. Which meme had the Ozempic rock? I can't remember now. Okay, Aaron Wilson says, try it again. I finally, the option popped up to put it in the cart. I have a shirt on the way. Awesome. Thank you. Aaron Wilson said, you should read into the windmiller culture from California. Very tall people. My father was involved in a few burial digs. The women commonly exceeded 6 feet. They were the makers of the Stockton cluster. Very interesting. I've never heard of that. Mikhail H.C. Question. Does root beer chert flint in the U.S. come from a seabed? And if so, does it have fossils in it? Good question. I think it does come from a seabed, and I don't think it has fossils. No fossils, but yes to the seabed. Yeah. That whole area of Central Texas and a lot of the Great Plains used to be a big inland sea at one time. So in Texas, where we find flint and chert, we can also find shark fossils, oyster fossils, clams, and other sea life fossils in the sandstone and limestone. Let's see. Yeah, Mike Tufts is in the house. Hello. Okay, it's 3:00. I need to start napping, but I'm going to try to catch up with the chat. All right, let me see if I caught up with it already. SC says, I've been finding some artifacts near my ranch here in New Mexico. Some nice preforms. There you go. That's awesome. Peter Cohen says, Mike Tufts, been tracking my order. It seems that USPS is giving it a grand tour of the country. Yeah, that does happen sometimes. Mm-hmm. Let's see. Yeah, Mike Tufts is in the house. Where is Sal today? Usually Sal can't join us from work. He's at work probably. Let's see. Mm-mm-mm-mm. Yeah, Curtis Smith would be the one to ask about the geology of root beer chert, says Jim Cooper. Yes, yes. Very true. Who's Curtis Smith? Kurt's Church on Facebook. CURT''S Church. Kurt's Church. Or Curtis Smith. He knows all about rocks. He's the one that memorizes the geology and tells you what the stuff actually is from a very reliable perspective. Yeah, Kurt knows his rocks. Yeah, not even joking. I will never reach that ability, and I don't want to. He actually sells rocks for a living, so that's his living, and he's a napper too, which is a benefit because then you know for sure that you're going to get stuff that can be napped. But yeah, I will never have the knowledge he has on the actual names that we give to these rocks and where they're from. Yeah, I don't have that kind of knowledge. Not to a large extent, anyway. Small extent. Jim says, "Oh, Patrick, I found my box of grinding wheel pieces. Awesome. Yeah, awesome, awesome. Mm-hmm. Let's see. I'll send you a mix of them different grits. Cool." Mike Tuff says, "Sal's responsible and is working. Unlike me." Yeah, Sal's got a family. I remember doing the family man thing. Sacrifice everything and prioritize the family, ADHD and everything. How did I overcome ADHD while being a full-time dad or a full-time employee? Anger is a powerful tool, but it messes you up eventually. You can't be doing it forever. Jim Cooper says, he's a phenomenal napper. His Cato blades rival the Sweetwater biface, and the Abo tools no less. Yeah, Curtis is an excellent napper. Yes. Tommy Taylor, Ralph, I like them. Also, may have forgot to hit the like button. Harley says, question, Patrick, when you going to start napping? Yeah, I'm 4 minutes late. 4 minutes. All right. Good question, though. I was beginning to wonder myself. Yeah. So people might be saying, hey, I showed up. You told me an hour. I showed up right at the top of the hour, and you're still blabbing. I'm going to leave. Okay, so when they leave, then I'll start napping. So you got to give it a little bit of buffer so that the ones that are crybabies in the beginning, they'll leave, and then I can start napping. Yeah. Yeah, but you're supposed to do customer service, dude. Who says? Who said? You? Is the customer always right? Do I have customers or do I have subscribers or do I have a community participating? Mm-hmm. If there's no customers here, which is perfectly fine, then how can they be right? Okay, never mind. Let's see. What am I doing? I'm trying to get all my stuff ready for the dacite obsidian. Yeah, I know it's not geologically correct to call it dacite, but it's dacite obsidian because it's opaque. What is opaque? Don't worry about it. You worry too much. How do I know people are going to ask the questions like that? I don't, but my kids would ask questions like that. I got experience from being a dad. Okay, I got 6 children, and I still have 6 children. Yeah, but they're grown up now. Well, for the most part. My youngest are now 20. Dang. No, 21. No, they'll be 21 this November. My youngest. I had twin boys that are my youngest. All right. And they're always, when they were little, they would always say, "Dad, what about this and that and this and that?" "Dad, what? What about this? What about that?" So I got used to all the questions. Yeah, I make up questions. I make people sound stupid, but there's always questions. Where did you get the dacite from? Where did you get this obsidian dacite from? Who? Who's giving it to you? Where'd you buy it? I want it. You'll have to ask around. You can ask in the chat. If you're watching and you want to know where to get this, just say, "Where do I find that?" And people will tell you. Yeah, that's the beauty of these live streams. And you can get answers to your questions in real time. Supposedly. Yeah. Now, if people can tell you're a little crybaby, they might not answer you. But that hardly ever happens. Yeah. I joke about that. Once in a while, we'll get weirdos and Fruit Loops in the comment section, but we haven't had any problem since I blocked like 3 people. Yeah. I blocked like 3 guys, and then we don't have any more problems. Yeah. Okay. Oh, gosh. I scooped it, but see, I'm experimenting. Like I said earlier, you probably missed it. Well, I don't know if you probably, but if you're just tuning in, you missed the explanation that I will experiment in the beginning. I'll try to get as many of this type of flake as possible so I can make arrowheads from the smaller flakes. But it changes the approach and the strategy and the techniques. They change as the shape of this workpiece changes. So right now I can experiment and do stupid stuff. I don't understand why that's not going. That worries me because now there's a bunch of incipients in there. Why didn't it work? I don't know why it didn't work. But I'm not going to smash hit. Sometimes I will tell nappers, you got to keep hitting it until something happens. But that's only if you're new. I think I know what's going to happen if I keep hitting. It's not going to be good on that side. For some reason, hitting it on this ridge isn't working at all. And that's just crazy to me. I don't understand what's going on. But anyway, I'm going to try to preserve as much of this to create a biface. Let's see, what's the measurement? And I'm not going to be looking at the chat for 45 minutes. All right, so at 3:45 or 3:50, I'll try to catch up with the chat again at the very end. I'll look and see maybe there's a question or two and try to answer. This is 7 3/4. So I'll measure it at the end so we can see how much I lose. All right. Now this knocked off some of that area that was hard to get earlier. I don't see incipients. So, okay, and that's not the right edge. Never mind. I thought it's this edge that I hit a lot, not this one up here, but this one down here. So let's just see. Once I get down to that area, let's see what happens. There might be a bunch of internal issues in there now. I don't know. It almost seems like knapping in that direction is very difficult for the stone itself, like there's some kind of grain to it. But I can make arrowheads out of these type of flakes. So instead of hitting this edge, I went up here and hit this way, down that. I went up here, turn, 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 down. I hit this way. And it step fractured at the end right there. Or they call that a hinge since it's a scoop out and not a broken flake. That's a hinge because it scooped it at the very end. A step fracture is an incomplete fracture. You'll see like there's still some fracture in there, but you can't, right now you can't see any because it's called a hinge. See how it sweeps? Where? Right there, it's swept and not stepped. Okay? That's how you know. It swept. It didn't stepped. That doesn't make sense, dude. I know. But it rhymes. So if I want to make up a rule, I got to make it rhyme. Yeah. This is finicky. Okay. Come on. Please do it. It's all crunchy right there. What am I going to do? Sometimes I just end up smacking the crap out of it just to get it to do something. But it's all crunchy right there. Yeah, story of my life. I know. I've been there. I mean, I'm there right now. Everything's crunchy. Everything's crunchy on this edge. So this might actually have some grain to it or internal issues like internal stresses. Well, I don't know. Like you can never get the physics completely correct on these things. But just know that this crushing is either compounding itself because of an original issue. Hey, Ed Gould, $10 super chat. Keep the flakes flying and off your back. Thank you. So yeah, it could be an initial spot where it was cracked with a natural or a pre-existing crack. And then from then on, every single hit after that hit some of the previous junk and created more junk. And the next hit created even more junk because it hit the previous junk. It can do that. Instead of being the opposite where you can set up flakes to run really nicely, you can actually set up so that flakes get all crunchy with each and every strike, which is the opposite of running a nice sequential flake pass. This is a sequential crunchy effect, it looks like. Okay? So instead of doing what it's supposed to be doing, being nice and neat, it's the opposite. Now, I still got quite a bit of mass. So I can still knock off plenty of good little spalls for arrowheads, but I've got to be a little bit more careful than just going to town on it because for some reason it doesn't seem to be working in certain directions. And I do see incipient cracks from the edge I tried to hit earlier. Yeah. Well, I hit it. I didn't try to do it. I actually did hit it, but it didn't do much. Except cause problems, probably. Yeah, I braid in both directions in like 99% of the cases in this stage. Later stages, I might only braid in one direction because it doesn't need it in both directions. But I'm trying to eliminate, I'm getting a bunch of little crud flakes coming off of this. I need to eliminate all that crud as much as I can for this next series of strikes. I need to clear all that out of there. It doesn't look good. I mean, it doesn't look promising. It looks like I'm going to have some problems with that. Okay. Yeah, you didn't braid enough before, dude. Yeah, that might be it. But like I said, I experiment at this stage. Yeah, I've napped dacite before, and I've got memory of dacite, obsidian. I've got memories of napping this kind of stuff, but I never go by that consciously. Consciously, I'm always thinking could be different. Subconsciously, it wants to do it the same every time, or do it from what it remembers. See, the subconscious brain has a different process than the conscious brain. They work together very well in most cases, but Flintknapping really brings out the differences in how they operate, how the different aspects of the brain's consciousness operates. If you had to think about everything all the time with Flintknapping, you'd be suffering. You would, and never really get very far as far as productivity goes. You could probably make 1 or 2 points per week or something instead of 1 or 2 points per day if you had to think about it constantly. Because thinking about it constantly creates fatigue in the brain. Okay, so I hit it from here to remove a good sized spall. But when it hits the crunchy, see, it's supposed to hit the crunchy area and eliminate the crunchy area, but it's stopping at the crunchy area. So there's got to be something up with this. It should have terminated more smoothly, perhaps. Or maybe I incipientized it too much. But I can use that later for arrowhead. Yeah, it's good. It's yummy. Yeah. Sorry, that's the way it looks to me. Yeah. Yeah, but how can it look yummy? What is that? I made a meme like that, okay? With that exact wording. It's a little pack rat talking to an owl. It's not just any rock. Oh no. Special, fantastical, and yummy. Yeah. Nappers get funny when it comes to rocks. What is it? I know. I'm beginning to think that the edge just can't support the type of flakes that I want. It crushes a lot. There we go. Are we making progress? Yeah, we're making some progress on one side. I can use flakes like this, although it's kind of thin. I can still use it. Now, if I could do that on this other side, that'd be great. That'd be awesome. That'd be fantastic. Use a heavier rod. Why? I don't know. I really don't know sometimes why I do things. So that one, again, same side as before. And yeah, we're able to do the long flake thing on this side. Now I'm going to try it on the other side. Because see, you see what you did on that side? See that? You better behave. This one better behave because it can see it. You know, I know it can see it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. 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 Man, I've never seen something so crunchy. Nope, not in all my days, except maybe last week. I don't know. I had to go way back in my memory to remember something this crunchy. Dang it. Come on. All right. It wants to be tough. I just got to hit it like I'm going to break it. So I'm starting to make progress into that crunchy area. And I'll just continue what I'm doing. Yeah. Just whittling it down little by little. There's still a bunch of incipients. Okay. All right, hold on. Let's see. I'm hitting way above center line because hitting below isn't seeming to be working. So the next flake, I'm again starting to make inroads, which is good. And the next flake. So I took one from here, and then the next one from there, and the next one from over here. And finally making inroads into the crunchy area, although it's still got some weirdness going on. See that? It's really weird. That's where I like to do some of these just off camera and not mess with them on camera. I could have probably attacked this in a different way. But since I'm trying to focus on the video as well, I may have missed it. You could have done it a better way, dude. I was seeing it the whole time and you didn't do it. Yeah. Probably so. Yeah, because I would have done this and that first. And you wouldn't have had all that crunchification going on. Yeah. Maybe so. I'll make a note of that and store it away. Yeah. It won't be a conscious thing though. My subconscious will give it some weight. And maybe it'll use it, maybe it won't. The funny thing is that the subconscious uses emotions as well. Like if you were upset during a certain procedure, the next time it comes around, the subconscious is going to go, wait a second, nah, don't do that way. That one made me upset last time. I know it has nothing to do with what it actually did, but that was just, I was not feeling good that day, so I'm not going to do it. You have to override your subconscious's tendency to remember the emotions behind it. Yeah. Emotions can be an excellent motivator, but they can also be a very detrimental obstacle. Detrimental? The word mental's in there. Does that mean what I think it means? Yeah. It'll make you mental. Yeah. I'm trying to make inroads into that square edge, but I lost some of the tip. Why it did that? I don't know. it went, instead of going this way, it went this way. The flake fanned out in two different ways. It looked like it had 3 fingers up. So instead of going this way where I was hitting it, the flake actually took a little detour on one side and fanned out a lot and took off some of the tip. It doesn't want to cooperate. Okay, so 3:26. I've got 20 more minutes of napping. Let me see if I can get this thinned down because it's not working. What I'm doing now is not working, so I may have to just use a last resort type of procedure, which usually means I'm going to knock the crap out of it just to get it to do something and risk breaking it because I know that hitting it this hard is not wise, but it wasn't doing much before. Hitting it at weird angles because the non-weird angles were not working. Okay. I took off the square edge, but I still got major issues with this, especially right here. What do I do? Well, it's going to get shorter. That I can guarantee, because I'm going to be using not normal procedures with this. I was trying to be very careful in the beginning, but careful doesn't work on this particular piece. On the piece that I made for the auction last week out of dacite, the dacite was different than this. Yeah, this stuff is not cooperative in the normal way. With normal techniques, I've got to really abuse it to get it to do something. Yeah, it doesn't want to cooperate. I've got to force it more than usual. Okay, which risks breaking the whole thing. So I could end up with 2 nice halves, but that's the way it goes. But some people go, no, I don't want 2 halves ever. I want to know how to nap without breaking it in half. That's my whole mission in life. So do it. My whole mission in life is not to break it in half. So if you break it in half, unsubscribe, unsubscribe, unsubscribe. Some people, I think, are like that, right? Because I get the impression that if I break it in half, there's this big sigh on the internet, and there's a disturbance in the force if I break it in half. Yeah. Whereas if I'm off camera and break it in half, there's no disturbance in the force. But if it's on video, it's attached to the force somehow. Who knows? Maybe we're tuned into the force by being on video. Yeah. I don't know. What force am I talking about? Don't worry about it. Boomers are obsessed with that stuff. And I suppose other people that are fans of Star Wars. One of my brother-in-law is a fan of Star Wars. He'll ask me, you remember this episode? Or this and this happened? Yeah. And I go, yeah, I remember. Really? Well, what do you think about blah, blah, blah? Well, actually, I don't recall it that well. You just said you remember. Yeah, I know, but, it's polite conversation, right? As an autist, I remember what's supposed to be polite. So I'll go, okay, polite or actual? You default to polite. autists have that rule. Default to polite. It can be exhausting to default to the polite scenario. But then you get called out on it and you're like, dang it, I should have did the real. What do I do next time? I don't know. Just default to the polite again. Yeah. Now, normal people, I can't speak to how you guys are thinking about this kind of stuff. You probably say it depends on the situation, dude. Okay, well, I can't assess the situation that fast, except to be totally honest. Then I'll just blurt something out. Someone can ask me, "What do you think about this?" And I'm going, and the first thing, if I would just be honest, I would say something like, "Man, I wish I had some allergy pills right now." That's the first thing I would blurt out as an example when they ask me something about something specific. Man, I wish I had some allergy pills. Or, hold on a second, I forgot to message somebody. Yeah, but why would you blurt out something like that when I asked you? Or, okay, never mind. You don't want to know the honest response or the real response from an autist. No. Because sometimes I actually didn't hear anything you said, dude. I saw your mouth moving and I could sense that there was vibrations in the air, but nothing you said registered. Not even one word. Yeah. That happens. Do I say that? Just be honest, dude. Okay, honestly, I think your opinion is crap. Honestly. you know. I think you're Looney Tunes La La Land, okay? Is that what you want to hear? Because that's it. Oh yeah, and you got any allergy pills? I'm not gonna give you allergy pills if you're gonna insult me. I know how the conversation is gonna go. So yeah, just default to the polite position. Don't even go near the honesty. Okay? Unless, no matter what I say, you're gonna be cool with it. It's very rare to find somebody. I mean, you guys, I can say whatever, basically. It's very rare to find a conversation where you can just say anything and they'd be cool with it. Yeah. It makes me laugh. It makes me laugh because I laugh at people's expressions. A lot of times I don't know what's going on and I can't read people, but some people I can read pretty well. And that's when if I can read the situation well, it allows me to laugh about it. But if I can't understand the situation at all, it's highly aggravating and it's very anxiety. It's very anxiety. Yeah. That doesn't even make sense, dude. I know. And maybe normal people go through the same thing. Like, let's see, we're going to have fried chicken or barbecued ribs. What do you want? A normal person might be going, okay, do I default to being polite or tell them exactly what I like, or just say, no, those choices are crap? Does a normal person go through the situation where there's a hesitation because if I say the wrong thing, I might not get dinner? Is that normal? For like the neurotypicals, do they go through this little rigmarole where, the thing also is with autists, you go, and then the neurotypical goes, what's the matter? Something matter? They're not saying it, but the neurotypical gives you that look. Is there something the matter? Because you're going, no, I'm wondering if I should be honest and say that the choices are crap, or be polite and say whatever you want. The easiest way to do it is just, figure out what's easiest, and I'll be happy with that. That's the polite way of saying it. Or I could say, well, actually, the last time I had pork, it wasn't that great, so I would prefer the chicken. Or something like that. Yeah. Do the neurotypicals go through this? I don't know. So you see me go, when you ask a question, I'm probably going through several options instead of the default position that I see most neurotypicals go to is like, there's something negative. What did I say? Did I say something wrong? Now, if I'm talking to another autist, I can tell, and I'll usually say something totally honest, like, actually, I don't like those choices. Anyways, why do I say stuff like that while I'm napping? Because I don't know what I'm going to do about this. I really seriously don't know what I'm going to do, because that's going to break here. Everything that I'm looking at to try to fix that is going to risk breaking it, snapping it right across there. Yeah. I mean, it's getting thinner, but that's a really bad spot. I don't know how deep that goes. Is it 345 yet? Because I don't want to continue. Yeah. To be honest, this is not fun. Yeah. This is presenting a problem. Yeah. Let me zone out here for a second. I'm having some issues with this stuff where it's so crunchy. Yeah, it's not supporting the type of flakes I want. The edge is not supporting the type of flakes I want. And if I grind it too much, I end up removing way too much of the edge. It bites the edge. So I got to find that happy middle ground. I still haven't found it yet. I'm still crunching the edge a lot. I do have to remove a lot of material because it was chunky to begin with. There's that. But there's also that weakness that could cause it to snap, or that could snap at that weak point easily. Every time I hit a little bit off the edge, it makes it more narrow and therefore weaker. I don't even know how this is going to translate into sharpening it later. What am I going to do? I got to switch strategies here. Let's see. Yeah, talks amongst yourselves because I've got to switch strategies here. Hold on. There's dead air, dude. You can't have dead airs during live streams. I know. I cannot help it. Hold on. Is this why you did a no talk on the last site? I think so, yes. But this one is extra especially crunchy. It does not, the edge does not support it. It does not allow this. Okay, that was lucky. Yeah, I'm depending on luck on some of these. Yeah. Not some of these. I'm depending on luck to get me through this situation because It wasn't doing that earlier, and all of a sudden it starts doing it correctly or doing it the way I want. But it must have been luck. I can't depend on it. It doesn't always do that. What is it that I'm looking for? I'm looking for long flakes. Yeah, just give me some long flakes and then I can clear off some obstacles. I can't do nothing with these little short, crunchy flakes. Yeah. Even the new guys know that. They say, if I could only just get long flakes, my whole problems would be gone. That's true. In many cases, that's true. Even the new guys know that. So that's the thing I'm trying to overcome here. Generate long flakes with an edge that's really not cooperative, that crushes a lot no matter how I abrade it. Unless I only want little bitty flakes, which I don't. I want some long ones. Or I won't be able to have any width. If there's only short flakes, what kind of width can I have? Unless I have a bunch of step fractures in the middle. Yeah. And I got to get rid of thickness. It's still pretty thick. Now, I don't have to. I can make a knife out of this with a real thick handle. But the object is, on a video anyway, is to produce something that pushes the limits. It makes it more educational and interesting. Answers more questions than just do, easy peasy stuff. So yeah, I'm still crushing the edge, but I'm just living with it right now. I can get some flakes into the interior, but it is crushing the edge. But I'll deal with that later. Yeah. How do I deal with that later? I just trim it off. It gets even more narrow. But what can I do? Can't do nothing else. I got no choice. If the only way to thin the middle is to crush the edge, you got to live with the edge crushing till I find a better way to do it, which is very subtle. I might be missing something. I could pressure flake the edge before striking with the indirect percussion flaker, and that might make all the difference instead of having to depend on the abrader to do the dulling or the removal of the weak areas. I could be setting this up a lot better with pressure. I don't know. I haven't tried that yet. Okay, this next phase is the thinning. This was just the shaping. First stage is over. Second stage is the thinning, the real thinning. Before, yeah, I was thinning before, but I still have issues with it. Right in that area where it had dipped earlier, there's still some of that dip in there or some of that crack in there. This is the thinning stage where I'll make it thin enough to remove, supposedly, and hopefully, those surface blemishes and obstacles. And I'm abrading it a little bit more because I'll be using a smaller diameter rod that puts more force in a smaller area that's going to crush it. It's going to have a tendency to crush it more. So I have to abrade it more in general. Now, it may not work that way for this material, but we'll find out. I might end up taking a bunch of bites out, which means I can't abrade it that much next time. As an example. Still stepping. Is it doing it? It's trying to do it. Okay. Yeah, it's trying to do it. I think I'm just getting used to the material. It's not. It's not that great. Maybe I should get the files out. Get a little bit better angle on the abrading. Rather than just rounding it off, I can put a little angle. Tommy Taylor, super chat, $5. Thank you, thank you. Awesome. No comment in that one. Why no comment? Tommy Taylor. Ken's talking about lunch. Yeah. Okay, so I should stop the napping, but let me just take a few more flakes. Yeah, famous last words. No, not like that. No, not like that. See, now it wants to be tough. When I abrade a lot, that's what I wanted. Okay, I will show you. That is satisfying. The journey to get there was terrible, but once you get there and look around, like once you hit the summit and look around, it was worth the journey. Yeah, but the journey was terrible. But I got that piece out. I think that's it. There's only a couple more areas that are bugging me. Yeah, that area. Voila. That area. Yeah, okay. So abrading it with and the combination of a smaller tip is working good. Nice. Yeah, the file actually, I think that's what made a difference. I could put an angle on it with the file when I abrade instead of just rounding it over. Plus, really getting a flat spot and then a small surface area. Hitting on a small surface area with a small tool is working okay. Except right there. Except right there. Move over a little bit and it does it. Yes or no? Ooh, it wants to dive, so I got to keep it relatively thick. Okay. So that's one reason why it was working well, because I was hitting very convex areas also. That's one more thing to take into consideration. It'll work if I'm hitting into a thick area. But once it starts getting thin, yeah, it's already taking bites out of the edge. Yeah. I have to leave it thick. Okay, so that's it. I'm going to stop napping, but I had to leave this thick, even though I can probably get thin flakes and then a thin biface. I'm going to leave it thick because it likes the convexity. So when I was knocking off the thick spots, it was very convex in those areas, and it was working just right. With heavy abrading, with a special, well, not special, but an intentional angle on the abrade instead of rounded, it had an intentional angle. You could put in those intentional angles with the file much easier than with an abrader, I think, because this really focuses the force to get us to get it right on the edges you need, and then put that specific angle, which is about a 45, maybe 60, between 45 and 60. That was working, and but it does still remove bites if once it starts getting thin, it'll remove big bites that are not good. See that? So I've got to switch it up a little bit later as it gets thinner. If I make it thinner, which I probably won't. I can keep it thick like this and then make like a hasket. Yeah, with these collateral flakings. You know, a hasket, right, has these collateral flakes. A very nice looking end result, but they're thick. The haskets are thick, I'm pretty sure. All right, so what do we got for chat? Let's see. I'm going to wrap it up here. We've got 9 minutes. Okay. Let's see. Let me go to the end. Ralph says, I'll be face snapping some chicken thighs, asparagus, and wild rice. Are you growing your own asparagus and wild rice? Okay, you guys are talking about stuff I've never heard of. Ken says, have you seen Muddy the skunk lately, Pat? I saw your last video of him yesterday. Yeah, I saw Muddy last night. Yeah. See, I don't know if I mentioned this, but the baby, we have a very small skunk now hanging around in the yard. There's 4 regulars now, and the baby's the latest one. He was under the lawnmower last night in my backyard. He was sleeping under the lawnmower, I guess. And I told the neighbor, since he borrows a lawnmower, the baby skunk is sleeping under there. He likes the skunks too, right? So I told him. I saw him. He's sleeping under the tail was sticking out from underneath the lawnmower, and I opened up the little flap where you attach the bag that catches the trimmings or whatever. Anyway, I opened that flap because there's no bag on it right now, and I opened it up. Sure enough, little baby in there. Anyway, he was awake. He or she was awake, but didn't come out. I said, okay, well, maybe it's the new den for the little baby. So I told the neighbor this morning. Just FYI, I saw the little baby under the lawnmower, and that's where I guess he likes to hang out. But he's not there this morning. But just fair warning, then he might crawl back under there. Oh, okay. And Muddy likes to go into his shed. He's got a shed attached to his house, but there's no front door on his shed, so the animals can come in and out whenever they want, which he doesn't mind. So I said, I saw Muddy, I call him Muddy, go in your shed. He goes, oh, yeah, there's spaces in there that they probably hang out that no one will see or notice, like underneath the snow blower or underneath some other equipment. I said, yeah, I saw him go in there. I see him go in there a lot and he never comes out. Yeah, must be sleeping in there occasionally. This is an awesome Super Chat day for sure. Let's see. Oh, I forgot to bring out my natural tools for this particular episode. Oh, well, next time. I've got my boxes of natural tools. I'll be breaking these out now on live stream. Right? I got to use my pressure flaker. I've only used it a couple of times, this particular one. It's cow bone. I believe that's cow bone. I got to put in an antler flaker tip on this one. Yeah. And I got to start using more Axis deer antler. I've got a bunch of this stuff. Axis deer, AXIS, Axis deer. It's the best antler that you can use for flint knapping. It doesn't get very thick and wide, but it's solid. It's heavy. So it doesn't need to be very thick and wide. Right? Right. I got some huge whitetail antler beams. Now, these are, I'm not sure if these are from Dakota, my friend Dakota, or something I picked up from my friend Henry. I can't remember. Yeah, I've got some very large whitetail beams, and this is what I like also for billets, whitetail deer antler. And I've got small billets too. I use little small ones, and this one happens to be an axis deer. You can tell by the small pith. Anyway, just upcoming stuff. I'll be doing it Friday, if I remember. If I don't remember, remind me. I've got my natural tools sitting over there. Yeah. We are all in the flake zone, says Harley Butler when we watch the videos. Yes, yes. So next live stream is Friday, 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern time. And you just go, hey, Google, what is it my time when it's 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern time in the U.S.? What is it my time? And Google will give you your time. It is such and such when it's 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern. And then you won't miss it. Yeah. I'm going to wait. I'm not going to shut this live stream off at exactly 4. I'm going to wait like 5 to 10 minutes. And if previous live streams are any indication, there will be people showing up saying, hey, how's it going, guys? At 5 minutes after it's supposed to be over. What did I miss? Hey, guys. Yeah, you showed up after it's supposed to be over. But it happens a lot. And so I don't understand. Peter Cohn says, I had to step away and nap some flakes, and now I'm face napping potatoes. Potatoes? Jim Main says, can you get a sharper edge with antler over copper? Me? No, I can get sharper with copper. But it's slightly easier in some cases with antler. I don't know if that makes sense. In general, I can get sharper edges with copper. In the majority, actually probably in 90% of the cases, I can get a sharper edge with copper. But it's not easy because it crushes. I have to prepare the edge better. Now with antler, I also have to abrade, but it's easier to produce a sharp edge. It's just not as sharp as I can get it with copper. Why? I don't know. And it's also subjective. It feels sharper when I use a metal to sharpen it, but it could be just subjective. But yeah, it's on some material, it's easier to produce a sharp edge because it doesn't crush in the same way. It'll still crush. I can crush the crap out of an edge with antler, but for some reason, it just is easier in general. Yeah, with antler to sharpen. But sharper, I can get it super sharp with copper. Yeah. And with antler, maybe I haven't practiced enough. I can't get it super sharp with antler. Let's see. And it might be just because of practice. It probably is. Ass Butter's here. Where you been? Dang it. Anthony Mummert's here too. Hey, Patrick, we have some dacite obsidian in the area I live in. I'm going to add some in the package that I have planned on sending you. I'm working on the right stuff to send you coming soon. Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, that sounds good. Thanks, Anthony. Yeah, it's best to get a wide assortment of dacites to nap. This one is very crushy on the edges. This is a lot different than the dacite that I napped on the last No Talk video. It feels different. Maybe not in the texture of or the smoothness or the glossiness, but just in the overall nappability. And it just feels a lot heavier too. This is heavy for a dacite. Anthony says, I've just been really picky on what I want to send to you. Really, really good stuff and stuff that's kind of hard to work. Sounds fine either way. Jim Cooper, cool, thanks. Buckskin, I'll be sure. Okay. So any questions? If you have questions, please ask. We got I'm going to stay over the limit of time for a few more minutes. So yeah, Aspetter showed up at 3:59 p.m. Hello, guys. 1 minute before the ending of the stream, supposedly. So that's the first one. Who else is going to show up that wasn't in the chat before? Yeah, everything's been good. Yeah, I did have a flu. It only lasted a week and a half, but the first week my throat was more sore than I ever remember having a sore throat during a flu. It was bad for about 3 days. Yeah, I must be getting old or something. Imagine that. Marty says, I got the box filled with 5 pounds of KRF and headed your way from the post office, Patrick. Thanks again for the obsidian. Oh, you're very welcome for the obsidian. Thanks for the KRF. Yeah. Ed Gould says, my wife decided we needed all new appliances, 6 something great, but she has to have new. At our age, probably her last. Why would you think like that? It's fine. Okay, so I'm going to end the live stream here soon. If you have questions, please ask. Anthony says, the stuff that I'm going to send you comes from Glass Mountain in St. Helena. It's very buttery and was known as the best around. Perfect. Yes, sounds perfect. Thanks. Thank you. Yeah, thanks for the super chats, guys. I'm gonna go back into the chat. Ed Gould, Tommy Taylor. Yeah, as I was saying in one of my other live streams, I make more on super chats with a live stream than I can with a video that gets like 10,000 views. Yeah. 10,000 views on a video gives me like $30, in case you're wondering. It can add up to a lot if you get 100,000 views. So that's like $300. You get 1 million views, it's like $3,000. But how many people get millions of views on their videos? Those people are raking in money because then not only do they have the ad revenue, but they have signed up for an affiliate marketing program, and they also do ads within their video themselves because people will pay them thousands of dollars a month to run an ad in their own words within their own video. How do I know this? I actually looked it up. Why are these people? They're monetizing their channel. They have affiliates, and they create commercials in their own words during the video. I think what they're doing is they're doubling and tripling their income. Yeah, and sure enough, that's what they're doing. Now, do I want to do that? Well, I was thinking if it was going to be easy, why not? But no, it's not easy. Jim says, hey, Patrick, did you see those pictures of the Palouse I posted? Yes, I saw that. Yeah, the balloons. I made a comment. Did you see my comment? The balloons are out or something like that? Because I see balloons in the pictures. That's where he lives. That's where I live. That's awesome. Ken says, enjoy the rest of your day, guys. I'll catch you on Friday. Thanks for the great stream, Pat. You're welcome. Time to nap a bit, and then off to open mic. Awesome. And the neighbors just started mowing too, so that's going to interfere. No, actually, this microphone's pretty good at uh, canceling that out. Lithic Man, do you think selling my points and napping at local farmers markets is a good idea? Maybe not at the farmers market, but if you can go to a rendezvous, the knives, flint and chert and obsidian knives sell well at rendezvous. You know, the guy for the guys that do black powder muzzle loaders and stuff. They will buy rock knives and obsidian knives, but farmers market, I don't know. Yeah, farmers markets are usually the people there are going to spend money on baked goods, stuff like little lunch packets, where they, I don't know, lunch boxes or lunch meals or stuff. I see those guys selling pretty well, and then all the fruits and vegetables and eggs, fruits, vegetables, prepared foods, and bread and baked goods are what does well at this farmers market. I don't see anyone selling crafts here, so it probably doesn't do well. But you never know where you are. Yep, see you Friday, guys. The live stream on Friday starts at 8 p.m. Eastern, 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern. And just go, hey, Google, what time is it my time when it's 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern? So I don't show up like 5 minutes after the live stream. Okay. Thanks, Jim. Thank you. Etsy. Yeah, you can use Etsy to put up some items for sale. It just takes time to get an audience. If you don't already have an audience, or if you don't already have a lot of people watching your stuff, like on YouTube, it's going to be hard for you to sell stuff. Just so you know, I don't want to make it sound like it's going to be easy, because it may not be. Mary says, make a napped fork and spoon to go with the flint knives. That'd be interesting. Although I would not want to eat with a napped fork. No. Mm-mm. I wouldn't even want to eat with a napped knife because of the chips. I break the tips off when I'm doing the butchering. I'll break the tip off, and if I don't catch it, it stays in the meat. So, and same with artifacts, I'll round it off if I'm going to be butchering with it. I'll round the tip off. It won't be very pointy. Now, people are going to ask right away, yeah, but I've seen artifacts with really pointy points. What's up with that? I don't know what's up with that. I think that's to start the skinning process. You have to have a pointy point to start the skinning process. But if you're going to cut meat off bone, as soon as that pointy point hits any amount of bone, even a little nick, it's going to nap that point right off. It's not going to take the whole thing off, like maybe an inch. No, it's going to nap the pointy point off. It's going to create a burin. And you're not even going to notice, because it's still going to look long. And you're going to be cutting more, and another burin comes off. I mean, you might not even notice. And then you've got 2 shards of material in the meat. Do you want to eat that meat now? I wouldn't. Yeah. Okay. We'll see you later, guys. It's been fun. Good to see everybody. I'll try to make some skunk videos. Yeah. Now that I have my new phone. Yeah, this is my new phone to replace my old phone. I got a second line as well, but this I don't have anything on this one except my video making stuff. Only 2 people know my phone number on this one, but I'm using this one for making my regular videos, because this can store a bunch of videos on it. and it has a good camera and microphone. This one is a replacement for my old phone. It's a cheapy cheap. So if I smash it up, break it up, I don't have to spend too much to fix it. But yeah, I don't know why I mentioned that, but that's a story on my phones. Okay, guys. Oh, yeah, filming the skunks. I couldn't film the skunks on my old phone because it didn't have a good microphone. Now I've got two good microphones, so I have no excuses except for all my excuses. All right, good night, guys, or good afternoon. We'll see you next time. We'll see you Friday. And don't forget the fox and the cat. Yeah, we got the cat is Louise, and the fox I haven't named the fox. There's two foxes, three. There's two that look healthy and one that doesn't. And one of the healthy ones is very much larger than the other one, so I think that's the male. The two other ones are maybe females. Anyway, they're gray foxes. They come around. They eat the cat food, and I've also been throwing Cheerios out there. Like I go to the store, and sometimes the Cheerios or the honey oats, honey O's and oats or whatever, they're on sale. Honey Nut Cheerios, generic brand. I'll buy some of that, and they like that. The foxes like chicken and Cheerios mostly, and then the skunks like the cat food mostly. But they'll all eat all three. The skunks will eat the chicken, and the skunks will eat the chicken and the Cheerios, and the fox will eat the cat food too. But they've got their preferences for sure. And yeah, everyone likes chicken. So yeah, luckily that's cheap. All right, guys. See you next time. Good to see you. Bye-bye.